I want to share a statement with you that I hear regularly every week in my training in companies here in Switzerland. And it might seem like a throwaway sentence when I tell you it, but it is really a sentence, like a prison sentence. It keeps a person trapped in the prison of their problem. Let me share the statement and then I'll explain it to you. So often I hear this. If I have a conversation with my manager about the way the workload and deadlines are impacting my health and performance, it will reflect badly on me. There'll be negative consequences. I'll lose my chances of promotion. So I say nothing. It makes sense why a person, therefore, doesn't communicate with their manager when these are the only two options. This either or, this false dichotomy. And I'll explain in a moment why it is a false dichotomy. But first of all, let's have a look at the damage that this statement does. What is a person actually choosing when they choose one of these two choices? Well, if they choose to not have the conversation, which makes sense given these two choices that they've created, well, they're choosing to be stuck with their problem, which means they are helpless. When a person feels helpless, well, they've given up their sense of autonomy, which is important to our well-being. When a person has no sense of autonomy, it impacts their sense of self-worth, impacts their self-esteem, right? Which all impacts a person's health and well-being, which hurts their chances for promotion because all of this also impacts performance. So we're choosing a lot when we're thinking we're making an easy choice, right, to avoid the complications of this conversation, but actually we're making life much more complicated for ourselves. So what is the solution to this? The solution is to realize that this is a false choice. Because if you believe you have no choice, that these are the only options on the table, then you're actually choosing to be a slave. And slaves don't typically have a very high level of well-being. The third option is this. How can I have a conversation with my manager about things at work that are impacting my health and performance and strengthen my relationship with my manager? Is that possible? It's absolutely not possible when you make this false dichotomy that I explained in the beginning. But very often when I explain this, some people will start to say in workshops, yeah, not around here, Travis. Not with my manager. You haven't seen my manager, not with my manager. And it's very interesting because often I don't have to look. Well, first of all, I agree with the person and I say, you're absolutely right, in my opinion. It's not possible if you communicate in the same way that you communicated last time, because, well, history shows that it's more than likely it doesn't work because otherwise you would have changed the situation. But what if you communicate in a completely different way? Is it possible? That's all I'm asking. Not, is it likely? Not, can I do it? Is it possible? Communicate in a completely different way to get a completely different result. Is this possible? And what's very interesting is very often, more often than not, I don't have to look very far for examples because someone in this room, 20 or 30 people, middle managers, employee level, will actually raise their hand and say, actually, now that I think about it, there was this time that when I spoke with this seemingly impossible manager and actually got something that I wanted, actually had a decent conversation with them, and it was a fruitful conversation, and I still maintain my relationship with them. There's one just last week, they were talking about headcount, very big in one of the companies I was in at the moment, as it is with many companies, and they said there's no way they'll give another person to our team, and someone about 3 meters away from the person that was saying this, actually, I was given another person in my team 2 weeks ago. And it's like amazing when people come together and share stories like this. But that's another aspect. The first aspect is avoiding this either or trap that keeps a person stuck in their problem. That's the starting off point. The question is how can I have a conversation with my manager about things that are impacting my health and performance in the workplace and strengthen my relationship with this person.